Hello, everyone. I'm sure many of you saw this coming or assumed this was the case due to my lack of activity on here, but I know that won't necessarily soften the blow, and I did want to create some form of closure for this community that has, meant so much to me and supported me through so much over 7 years. This is where I really started telling stories from super unintentionally humble and terrible origins to, some form of competency, and I wanted to first off thank the amazing community that supported me through all of that and was always hungry for more, even if I, missed the mark sometimes. I can't thank all of you enough for helping me grow as an author and as a person, and I'm really, really proud of what we were able to build here. So now to get to it, Scary Storytime with Liam is shutting down. That's only to say I will no longer be posting content on here. There will be no more creepypastas, music, or assorted content, and any unfinished stories are unfortunately destined to remain as such indefinitely. It doesn't mean I'll be deleting the channel or attempting to disband the community or anything, as much as part of me kinda wants to nuke the channel out of existence, as I feel much of the older content isn't a fair representation of my current storytelling and video production abilities. I want to keep it around for a good many reasons. One, it's a great marker of where I started and where this community started, and I think there's a ton of value in being able to track the progress of not just my growth, but the growth of this weirdly, impressively deep lore we've kind of all built together. And two, I understand that while I may not look back at many of these old projects fondly and may cringe at many of the choices and shortcomings, there was a point where I was genuinely proud of the work here, and I understand that it may still hold value for some people, new and old. And to that end, I had actually privated a good chunk of older videos I was particularly not proud of, but I'll be reinstating those for everyone to view. We all have to start somewhere as creators, and I don't really see any harm in some overly edgy content I made 7 years ago. If anything, it's pretty fun and endearing at this point, and I think it's a good example of how far people can come. So where does that leave us? Well, first off, the community is still alive and well in the official SSTWL Discord server, creating awesome fan series, theories, roleplays, and expanding the lore far beyond what I alone could have possibly come up with. As a bit of an absentee father, the community has already been running fantastically well and outperforming me for some time now, all by themselves. If you're feeling nostalgic, curious, or want to dip your toes into some spoopy storytelling yourself, definitely go check it out, because the community is fantastic, hilarious, spoopy, and super duper helpful. I'll be sure to dip in every once in a while myself to say hi if I can. Secondly, since we're here, let's address those two series I never was quite able to wrangle to a close: Design and Puppet Game. Design is one of my favorite series to this day, not for being good, but for being something that really pushed me outside my comfort zone and allowed me to make a ton of mistakes. From weird B plots to questionable choices to jumping the shark and eventually drowning in overly complicated lore unsupported by paper-thin characters and plots. It was always kind of an absolute mess we were all just along the ride for, me included. Doesn't mean it wasn't a ton of fun though, and the weight of the story and threads needing to be tied together eventually suffocated my own ability to keep writing, but it was such an amazingly helpful experience to be pushed so far in the first place. If it weren't for the support of the community, I highly doubt I would have even made it through the first season. Even if I eventually burned out on the story before I could offer a satisfying conclusion, the whole process taught me so much, and every long-form story since then has been, well, not easy, but significantly less frightening. So thank you all for that. I really owe you so much. It would have been a happy ending, for the record, and I don't feel that's a spoiler or anything. As much as my short horror stories usually ended on a dismal note, I think any long-form series in which people are investing a significant amount of time has a bit of an obligation to end positively. I don't think sad endings signify better writing, and misery doesn't equal more depth or realism, so the characters get together and all live happy life together. That's canon! What's also canon, by the way, putting this out there, is that the story of Callie and Refnock facility has been told, but left hands are worldwide, and there's so many other facilities that exist with conflicts of their own, and if you feel there's a story to tell there, I think the world would really like to hear it. So, good luck. I'm cheering you on. Again, if that's the kind of content that you're into and trying to write, you'll find a ton of support and resources on the official SSTWL Discord. So, double plug. Wow! Puppet Game was always more of a meme series, intentionally fanfic-esque that kind of ballooned out with lore simply because that was part of the joke. It was always fairly shitposty, and half the time the plan truly was to just abruptly end it with Ponder just killing everyone, or ending the game and deleting all the YouTube videos in some kind of meta way to save his own skin. It was really meant to be a thank you to the fans and kind of just a celebration of the lore so far. Obviously that means it's not super cash money of me to not finish the gift then, but I really do hope it was fun while it lasted, because it was just for you guys and I to have fun together. There were a few plants for overarching mysteries, depending on who kind of got voted off and such, but the main one that seemed to be taking shape was between Ponder, Sarah, and Malaya. So, spoiler warning for Puppet Game, if you're currently working through what there is of the series or wish to just leave your brain open to possibilities rather than hearing this, that's all cool. You may want to skip to this timestamp on the screen. For everyone still here, and just so you have an ending, this was the loose plan. Again, I'm sure it's not satisfying at all to hear it this way, but our big reveal was that Sarah was the original creator and host of Puppet Game. After teaming up with her accidentally created AI companion Ponder and figuring out how to induce splice fissures and mimic matter distortion like the left hands, she basically became God and went on a little power trip for a few hundred years. And along the way, she kind of got bored and jaded enough to start instigating these interdimensional survival games between dimensions, and did that for a long time before Ponder sort of sneakily betrayed her and usurped her role as showrunner of Puppet Game. So as a sort of way to get back at her, Sarah's eternal punishment then was being a regular human contestant in every future season of Puppet Game, either dying horribly or scraping her way to the top to win each time, only to be brought back again the next season and go through it all again. So John and Sarah would have teamed up to stop Ponder for the finale with the help of Malaya, likely, requiring Sarah to self-sacrifice to redeem herself, because that's how stories story. Again, not the way anyone wants the story concluded for them, but I felt I owed everyone at least something, so that was the plan. So what's next then? I'm still technically writing original stories and will still be active on YouTube. All my new content will just be purely animated and posted on my new animation channel. Link in the description. While I'm moving on from SSTWL to a new, kind of unrelated chapter, many of the ideas crafted here will live on in some form or another, whether just fun references and homages to old stories or straight up character reuse in future planned projects. I hope you'll all be there to cheer on the next chapter, but try not to gatekeep people too hard with your extended lore knowledge. Despite the references, new watchers will not need to have watched 80 plus hours of design, Black Dogs, Puppet Game, and all this stuff to understand the new animated series coming out. The animation channel is a new identity with no prerequisites required, so I did just want to put that out there. So all that being said, thank you all so much again for the support over all these years and for helping me become the person I am today. I mean, seriously, some of the best times of my life were spent writing these stories on my phone at 3 a.m. and I couldn't have asked for a more amazing community to share my passion with. So stay spoopy, everyone, and I'll be seeing you around. Yeet!